Hey traders, it's Kyle from K Capital. It is November 2nd, 9:10. It's been a great couple weeks for us over the last couple days and weeks. The market has really rebounded nicely. To my surprise, we've really rallied ever since crossing the 200-day moving average on the Dow. It's something that I expected a pullback, but I'll take it. I think we're going to test 1800 in the next couple weeks. So congrats, because it's definitely been a really strong rally for us over that time frame. So we want to take a look at the Russell. As you can see, we're definitely seeing some recovery in terms of prior lows from August. One thing that is on my watch list is the 200-day moving average here. What's bullish is the fact that we're going to see a nice EMA cross here between the 13 to 45-day moving averages. But we really need to break through the 200-day moving average. So that's something I'm keeping a close eye on. Quickly getting to our alerts. Crown is something that we just locked in a huge 25% gain in. We went long in the 4.8s, 4.7s, and sold roughly up here in the 6s. Huge return for us and for our members here at K Capital. We left half the position open because we want to let the rest ride here. They had their earnings today, which were pretty neutral for the most part. We saw a dip, which was basically the market maker taking out a lot of stops prior to the earnings call or after the earnings call, but the stops were probably to mitigate any risk there. We held the 20-day exponential moving average, which is definitely bullish. So right now we're going to let the remaining half of these shares ride for the time being. Jack was a position that we got stopped out right after earnings call or the morning of, but we went long again in the 770s. So we're about 50 cents up right now in this position. The 200-day moving average again is held great support prior to the earnings call. Now that has flipped. It's now obviously resistance here. Personally, I think the fundamentals here support this to trade in the $10 range. So I think this is going to break through over the next couple of days, if not next week. We'll test 9 and then probably 9.50 to 10. So this has potential to be a 25% to 30% return for us. So right now we're definitely up. So it's a good trade for the time being. EMKR is a monster in my opinion. The technicals and the fundamentals here are really a great story. Technically we went long in the 704 range. In the midpoint of this breakout candle, and we just really have been patient ever since this has bounced along this channel here. Finally today this breaks out, and frankly I think if we zoom out we can probably take a great look at where this could potentially go, and I would have to go to the weekly actually now that I'm thinking about it. But I think this is a great story, and I think it's definitely going to test at a minimum 70, 75 to 8-ish. I think this definitely has potential to get to 10. I just think it's going to take probably, a month to maybe a month and a half. But right now we saw a great uptick today on high volume versus the average. And it's a great, big, gigantic, green candle, which is obviously what we want to see. Moving on to MGPI. If we want to back out, we can get a general sense of why we entered this and what we were looking at. But technically we're looking at a bounce off of the 200-day moving average. That has been a consistent indicator for this position. We went long in the $17 range after we saw a nice big green candle that kind of made the confirmation that we were in the right mode to go long here. So we're at a nice profit right now for the time being, roughly 2.5 to 3%. So again, the target there is 1850 to 19 to test the highs from about 3 months ago. In that same train of thought was Penn, a position that bounced off the 200-day moving average. We saw certain volume indicators that we teach here indicate that the position was worth going long in. Obviously, we went long, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We went long at 17, right off of the bounce of the 200-day moving average. Continuing on to ACXM. So this is a position that we initially went long in the $20 range. We added in the 21s. I think this has really a potential similar to EMKR to be a monster. Monster being the $25 to $30 range, really is my initial target, and that's just based off what has happened in the past in this position. When it has traded over its 200-day moving average for the first time, it rallied, pretty consistently for a solid year. And I think we could definitely see that happen here. we would just trade in and out of the position as we really locked in profits along the way. And you can see that the 200-day moving average is pretty consistently, a nice indicator for the stock. So I think it's something that we're definitely going to add to. It's just a matter of when. And I think on this dip, maybe back to the 2170 to 22 range is probably where we would ideally want to add. So congrats to anyone who has traded that so far with us. We're definitely sitting at a, decent profit for the time being, but nothing to the crown or other standards, nothing plus 20% yet. But I think this one definitely gets there. Continuing on to the other positions, just going through my watch list right now. SD is a long-term investment, call option on crude. It was up, I think, roughly a percentage point today. So no really updates there. But one I did want to talk about was Angie, which is a watch list stock. Excuse me, I've had a cold over the last couple of days. So this is a position that rallied hard through its 200-day moving average on the earnings call. It's a great beat, at least a surprise beat for EPS. It's something that I don't want to buy at this price. I want to see this dip back to the $6.50 to $7 range before going long. That would be, testing this midpoint of this candle. That I think would be an ideal price to go long here, but this is something that I think could test 9 to 9.50 in the next couple weeks. I just don't want to chase this and really buy too high, knowing that if we want to, zoom in here, we can see that there's already some selling pressure. So I think it definitely makes sense to wait, be patient, see if this tests back to 7 and then go long, where obviously, 7 to 9 to 10, we'd get a 20 to 30% return. But that's it for the watch list and the open positions for the time being. I'm going to run the scans again tonight to see what else is out there. Obviously, if you have any questions, please shoot me an email, and I will be happy to answer them. So I will talk soon, and have a great night.